illusion of needs. Welcome, this is David. Once again, thank you for your time and for coming here to share. While lack does not exist in the creation of the Creator, it is very apparent in what you have made. Yeah? Very important sentence. It's saying that the state of shortage or of lack or not having, it actually does not, this state does not exist in reality. But in the world we have made and that we live in with our minds and all that, this concept of lack appears there. It's so very apparent there. So this is a very important sentence. Again, it's inviting you to consider that something could be in your world but not be an inherent nature of the way things really are. Okay? The way things really are could be completely different from the way things you experience things. You see what I mean? So the idea of lack or shortage or not having is in fact the essential difference between reality of creation and the so-called illusions that we live in. Okay? Lack implies that you would be better off in a state somehow different from the one you are in. Until the separation, in quotes, because it never really happened, which is actually the meaning of the fall of mankind, nothing was lacking. There were no needs at all. Needs arose only when we started depriving ourselves. Okay? So it's the very act of our own minds depriving ourselves, first of all, with the greatest deprivation of all, which is depriving ourselves of our rightful place as one, as being sons of the Creator and being one with the Creator. The minute we separated ourselves from the Creator, that was our first deprivation. And from there were other deprivations. So needs arise only when you deprive yourself. You act according to the particular order of needs that you have established. That's how you act, So this in turn depends on your perception of what you are. So what does this mean? It means how you see yourself determines the needs that you set up for yourself, which determines how you then act and what you believe about the world. Okay? Your perception of what you are then raises your setting up of particular needs, okay, which then raises the actions that you take based on those needs. Are you seeing that? It's not that needs exist as a reality in the world. They're very particular to you. Your needs are different from my needs and they're different from the guy next door's needs. Why is that so? Because, at least on the personal level, what we see ourselves as determines the needs we'll then set up for ourselves. See, it's all illusion based. Now, on the greater human level, it works in the same way, but on a more larger, gross and level. You might even say, "Oh, but we all need water." Surely, David, you can't be saying that we don't need to drink water. We'll get there. Let's just follow up on some principles and we'll get there to those kind of specifics much later on in the course. Yeah, because, for example, do we need water? That's a very, very important question. Because we can always say, "Oh, I don't need the Ferrari, I don't need the big house, but I need water." Where does that come from? I thought you said there are no needs at all. We'll get there. We just want to, first of all, here look at the principle that needs, at least on some level you can agree to this, that your needs are based on what you see as what you perceive that you are. One person might see themselves as a certain thing and therefore they set up a whole bunch of needs that are different from another person who sees themselves as a certain thing. So at least on a small level you can see how that works. It will be a challenge, which by the way you will surmount down the road, to see that need on all levels exists on this same principle. A sense of separation from your Creator is the only lack you really need to correct. It is the only one that you need to actually face and correct. The others all stem from this one. So there's no point actually addressing them directly. The only one you need to focus on is this one. This sense of separations would never have arisen if you had not distorted your perception of truth and had thus perceived yourself as lacking. The idea of an order of needs, in other words, one need is more important or greater than the other need, the idea of an order of needs arose because, having made this fundamental error in the first place, you had already fragmented yourself into levels with different needs. As you integrate, you become one, and your needs become one accordingly. Okay? Unified needs leads to unified action because this produces a lack of conflict. So here what they're saying, A Course in Miracles is saying, is that your sense of separation from your creator was your first error. All the other needs came because of this separation, this idea, okay? And you fragmented yourself into different levels, so different levels all had different needs. But as you start to integrate your perception or your awareness of who you really are into the original one, yeah, then your needs will also collapse into just one need, yeah, eventually. And from there, then, you release it all. Okay. Now, the idea of orders of need, which follows from the original error that one can be separated from the creator, requires correction at its own level before the error of perceiving levels at all can be corrected. Yeah? You cannot behave effectively while you function on different levels. However, while you do, correction must be introduced vertically from the bottom up. This is because you think you live in space, where concepts such as up and down are meaningful. Ultimately, space is as meaningless as time. Both are merely beliefs. And remember, beliefs are extremely powerful. They produce reality. So let's look at this in English terms, because the way A Course in Miracles is written is it's quite challenging sometimes. First of all, at the very bottom is trying to tell you or suggest to you that space and time, as amazing and complete and bigger than us than that they look, they are merely manifestation of a belief that not necessarily your personal belief, but it's nevertheless a belief. Space and time are sitting on a belief concept. Okay, this could be, let's say, the belief of all humanity, for example, since the beginning of time, or whatever. We're not arguing about whose belief it is right now. All we are saying is that space and time are constructs that are actually there because of a belief. They're not something that exists independently. Okay? Yeah. So then it goes on to say, A Course in Miracles goes on to say that the correction will happen in levels. Okay? So that you're no longer perceiving different levels. You're no longer thinking, oh, there's a body, and then there's a mind, and then there's a spirit, and then there's... You understand? You're no longer splitting yourself up in all these different levels of perception. You can actually have everything perceived as one. So you're no longer perceiving... You're no longer saying, oh, me, my life as a body, and then, oh, my mental life, and then my spiritual life. It's... These levels are going to be corrected, and then you can the order of needs as well will be corrected. I hope I've sort of explained that, because this is a very complicated set of sentences we're looking at here, but I think we've got it a bit covered, so let's move on. The real purpose of this world is to use it to correct your unbelief. From the spirit's point of view, this world exists for other reasons. From our point of view, we think of this world as a place where we are born, and then we have to go to school, and then we have to get married, and then we have to get kids, and then we have to also have a job, and then we have to produce things, and then we have to try and save the earth, because then we're destroying it, and then we have to we got all these ideas. We have to build cities. Spirit doesn't use the earth for the same reason that we use it. So you can say, from the point of view of spirit, the purpose of this world is actually to use it to correct your unbelief or your errors in perception. You can never control the effects of fear yourself, because you made fear and you believe in what you made. Now that's because you've already made it and you believe it, it becomes very hard for you yourself to then correct those errors. So It's also saying that in attitude, although not in content, you resemble your creator, yeah, who has perfect faith in his creations because he created them. In other words, you also have perfect faith in your creations because you created them. You actually believe that fear is real. Yeah? Belief produces the acceptance of existence. Yeah? So you can you can believe what no one else thinks is true. This is very possible. It is true for you because it was made by you. Whatever you made, you believe fully. And this is very important. It's very hard for you to see that what you believe in is not real, and number two, to actually escape it by yourself is very difficult. Okay, all aspects of fear are untrue because they do not exist at the creative level. Okay, so even though whatever it is that you made and you believe at this level appears completely real, it actually doesn't exist at the true creative level, at the level of the creator. Okay, so it doesn't exist at all. So to whatever extent you're willing to submit your beliefs to this test, to that extent your perceptions will be corrected. When you let go and you're willing to no longer uphold and fight for your belief, once you're willing to let go and submit the belief to a test, when to ask for it to be revealed to you completely, then to that extent your perception will be corrected. So you have to be willing and you have to let go for your beliefs to be corrected, and you cannot do it by yourself. You actually have to let it go and have it done for you, okay, by the miracle, for example. In sorting out the false from the true, the miracle proceeds along these lines. Perfect love casts out fear. If fear exists, then there is not perfect love. Yeah? But only perfect love exists, as we've seen in so many other discussions. So if there is fear, it produces a state that does not exist. So these two sentences show you how the miracle is then able to sort out the false from the true, because it comes from the point of view that only perfect love exists, therefore fear does not exist. Yeah? And simply by shining the love in that space where it is not there, automatically the fear disappears. Simply. It's not something that you have to fight or push it out. All you have to do is allow love into it, and then it will disappear. Yeah? And simply believe this and you will be free. Because this is a very simple solution. Simply allow love into that which you fear, and that love will automatically cast out the fear forever, because it didn't actually exist. It was just a void. So once again, thank you for your time. Please share this video with as many people as possible. For the full series of videos and course materials and the community, go to ahappypocket.com. Thank you.